Hi guys, happy Friday to you all. We are getting ready to start our weekly free review of our ACT questions of the day. Once again, we have all science questions this time. And if you've been following for the past few weeks, we've talked about one of those key strategies on the ACT science test is to be able to identify where they are sending you to find the information and then analyze that data and just answer the question. So we're going to take another deep dive today into 4 science questions and practice implementing those strategies so that you can raise the ACT science score, which will ultimately maximize your super score and be able to qualify you for scholarships and admission to the college of your dreams. So we are going to jump right in to our questions of the day for this past week. So we have everything pulled up here now. We see for this particular set of questions, we have a passage, a figure, and a table. And for right now, I'm going to ignore all of that and go straight to the question. It says, according to figure 1, the mass of cheese remaining at 4 hours was closest to which of the following values? Where is this question directing us? It's directing us to figure 1. So I should be looking here. This is where I need to focus my attention. I don't need to look at the passage. I don't even need to look at table 1, not for this particular question. So I'm focusing my attention here. And then I notice that it's asking me about cheese and what's remaining at the 4-hour mark. Okay, so we have a key here. We've got cat food, cheese, ham, and peanuts. They asked us specifically about cheese, so we know we're going to be looking for the bar that's just open, like the white bar with nothing shaded in, no pattern, no stripes, no nothing. It's just the open white bar for cheese, okay? And we can see on the y-axis is a mass of food remaining, and that's labeled on both sides. And on our x-axis, we have the time in hours. And so basically it's just telling us, hey, go straight to the 4-hour mark and look and see how much cheese is left. And so we look for the white bar and we can see, let's see, we can zoom in just a little bit. And then we can see if we come up the white bar, it appears to be halfway between 180 and 190, which would be 185. So the closest approximation, just kind of eyeballing it, would be C, 185 milligrams. All right, so hopefully you guys got that one correct. We're going to move on to question 2. So we're looking at question 2 now, going directly to the question. It says, suppose a company wants to use food as bait in a trap designed to capture female bee germanica. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Based on figure 1, which of the 4 foods should the company place in the trap to maximize the chance of capturing female bee germanica? Okay, guys, you can let me know if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly or not. So having not read the passage, it might be a good idea now to skim it and see kind of what's going on in this study. But like I'm just kind of skimming it here live for you in this moment. And it just kind of seems like they're developing food and they want to see which one would be the best thing to use as bait in a trap. So just kind of from a common sense standpoint, if you're going to use something as bait in a trap, then perhaps you want to use what that particular animal or species likes the best if you're trying to catch it. Okay, so, and if it likes it more than the other ones, then that means it will not be much of it left because the animal is going to keep eating it or keep consuming it because they enjoy it so much. So if we're doing a test to see which item is going to be best for bait, then it's going to be the item that is decreasing over time because the animal is eating it. So it'll be less of the food remaining. Okay, so they did direct us to figure 1. We're going over to figure 1. And it says, which of the 4 foods should the company place in the trap if we're trying to maximize the chances of capturing this particular animal? So here's our key. So first one is cat food. Now look at cat food is the dark bar. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see clearly what's going on here. Right, so this dark bar is not really decreasing that much. I mean, it did go down a little bit, but these are hours, right? And so when we get to the 20th hour, it didn't go down too much. So cat food might not be what this animal was really wanting to eat too much. And you can look at all of them. You got cheese. How far is it going down? Ham. Okay, and then peanuts. Based on the consumption, right, or based on how much is left over after 28 hours, it appears that this animal is eating more peanuts than anything else. You can see the peanuts are decreasing the fastest over this set of time. Peanuts started out at 200 milligrams, and then it ends up at, looks like 70 milligrams here. So nothing else is that low, right? So this animal is eating more peanuts than anything else, and therefore it would maximize their trap if they include peanuts in the bait. So we're going to go back and get that as our answer. Peanuts, which is J, should be the correct answer for number 2. Okay. All right, let's continue on, guys. We're going to work out the other 2 questions from this week. And remember, guys, inside our free Facebook group, we offer ACT questions every single weekday. And then on Friday, we review them. So it is a good chance for you to be exposed to official ACT questions each week, and then joining us on Friday to get the detailed explanation of how to solve them, including strategies to save you time. So let's move on to question number 3. So our third question is actually number 27 from this officially released ACT science test, and it reads, based on the results of the study, which of these suspected mutagens resulted in the greatest number of, I'm going to say his plus revertants in a dish? Okay, notice here there are no directions saying refer to figure 1, refer to table 3. It doesn't tell you where to go to get the information. Since you don't have that signal, you're going to want to now go to the passage so you can get some background information and see which figure is going to be best to figure this out. We do know that all the answer choices say substance this, substance that. So we probably need the passage and the chart or table that deals with these substances. So let's look over and see what we get. I am zoomed in because this one had a lot of information. So we have our passage here. And then, hold on a second, guys. So we can see table 1 has dish and substances. So that looks like that's going to be a good place for us to go after we get information from the passage. And table 2 has dish and number of colonies. So again, that's me just kind of skimming the information without having read the passage. So let's take a look here now at the passage. It's kind of freezing it on the screen for a moment and let you read it while I also kind of skim it as well. Okay, it looks like they have some sort of amino acids, and they're talking about genetic mutations. So I'm jumping here to the word exposing. Exposing his negative strains of bacteria to mutagens, substances that induce DNA mutations. That's their definition of mutagens, that's why it's in parentheses, can cause new mutations that restore the ability of some bacteria to synthesize histidine. I think I am pronouncing that correctly. If not, you guys can let me know. Any bacterium that regains the ability to synthesize histidine becomes His positive and is known as a His positive revertant. Okay, so the His negative does not create mutagens, but the His positive has this mutagen to it that allows it to regain, right? Regain the ability to synthesize. And if it does regain it, then it becomes His positive. Okay, so His negative does not, His positive does regain the ability to synthesize. That's what I get out of that paragraph, okay? So then we have some information here. The number of His positive revertants in a population of bacteria can indicate the potential of a substance to be mutagenic in humans. So scientists tested 4 substances, which we saw with the letters substance L, substance M, blah, blah, blah. Each suspected to be a mutagen on the His negative strain. So they suspect that those 4 different things could be a mutagen and change it from His negative into His positive. That's the suspicion. We're going to find out on Salmonella T. Okay. So we get into the study. We have their suspicion or their hypothesis. What did they do to test it? So they have a sterile Petri dish, dish 1, containing a nutrient lacking histidine was prepared. 1 × 10⁸ cells of His negative salmonella were added to dish 1 and evenly spread over the surface. These procedures were repeated 4 more times, okay, in the other dishes, dishes 2 through 5, except that the bacteria were mixed with one of the 4 substances, okay? So they have dish 1 as the control, and so that's like really the only science information that you can recall from science class. Dish 1 is the control, and then dishes 2, 3, 4, and 5, they're testing their hypothesis by spreading these substances on those dishes, okay? Except the bacteria mix, I read that already. Table 1 lists each of the dishes 2 through 5, the substances that was mixed with the bacteria before they were added. So table 1 really is just for labeling purposes, so that we know what did we put on dish 2, what did we put on dish 3, 4, and 5, right? That's all it's saying. It's just a list labeling what did we put on each dish. Okay, let's continue on over here. Can you guys see? The 5 dishes were incubated at 37 degrees Celsius for 2 days. That's in my way, I can't see it. At the end of the incubation period, the number of colonies growing on the dishes were determined. So here we have, on these dishes, this is the number of colonies. And remember, what is this we're talking about? Mutagens and mutants and all of that. Okay, so now that we skimmed all of that, and I kind of tried to break it down as I read it, let's go back to the question. Based on the results of the study, which of the suspected mutagens resulted in the greatest number of His positive revertants? So remember, we said His positive means it regains the ability to produce that histidine, whatever. His negative does not, his positive does, right? So if it's synthesizing, it's producing something, it's making more of it. So let's go back here, because this is where the numbers are, table 2, so we can see what's producing, right? So we can see dish 1 was the control. It did produce something though, but we got 14, 25, 107, and then 6. So which one of these mutagens is like producing and really synthesizing this mutation? 107, because colonies are growth. That means it's creating something, it's producing spread of whatever that was, salmonella, I think. So 107 is what we're looking for. That's dish 4. But if you look back here, the questions are not asking you which dish, it's asking which substance. So we do need to go back over to the table, and it was dish 4, and dish 4 is substance N. Okay, so substance N is the one that had, let me say it in the correct words that they use. Dish or substance N resulted in the greatest number of his plus revertants in a dish. Okay, so the answer to this one is C. Okay, questions about that at all, guys, please let me know. I'm happy to kind of break that down further if necessary, but that's the question, the answer to question, the third one from this week here. All right, let's look at 28. Which dish in the study was intended to serve the purpose of testing whether some of the salmonella cells became his plus revertants without the addition of a mutagen? Okay, which dish in the study was intended to serve the purpose of testing whether some of the salmonella would just become his plus revertant on its own without adding in extra mutagens? So remember, the mutagens were the substances. 4 of the 5 dishes received mutagens or received an extra substance. 1 dish did not. Okay. What dish was that? That was the control dish, right? So there's nothing to look up on this one. This is one of those rare questions that does have a little bit of, do you know the science? Do you know the scientific process? And so yeah, the answer to this one is F, dish 1. And remember we read dish 1 was the control. Dish 1 is sterile petri dish. All it has is the salmonella. It doesn't have any extra substances or mutagens applied to it. So the correct answer to 28, our fourth question, is F, dish 1. Okay. All right, guys, I hope that you have enjoyed the review of our ACT questions from this past week. If you are looking for some more practice, we have 2 events coming up right at the beginning of May. This first Saturday, May 7th, we are doing a complete official ACT practice test. That's all 4 sections. English, math, reading, and science is going to be proctored by yours truly and another ACT certified educator, Miss Trisha Dunn. We'll be working together to proctor that test for anyone who would like some practice, and that is completely free. You can sign up for that. I'll put the link for you guys below so you can take advantage of that if you need some practice, especially if you are planning on taking the June 11th ACT test that is coming up. And also, if you really, really, really want to boost your math skills, then we have an ACT math test review coming up as well, which gives you three sessions to practice an official ACT math test. That's going to be Wednesday nights, May 11th, May 18th, May 25th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. And on all 3 nights, we will be taking a practice test and then going over the solutions. So that leads you into the June 11th test as well, boosting those math skills. And that's only $30. You can sign up at www.actmathtutor.com/ACT 3 UP. So I'll link that one as well. So lots of opportunities for you guys to practice for the upcoming test. All right, I'll see you guys next week. Have a wonderful weekend.